All right, we're going to take a look today at Math Chapter 2, Unit 6, Lesson 1. These are some homework worked out solutions for numbers 1, 5, 7, 10, 16, 20, 21, and 27, just to help you get a feel for if you're doing it right or if you need a little more work on it. So here we go. The first one begins with the length of the car compared to the length of a model car. Initially it has that it's 14 feet and 10 inches long for the original, and the model is 8 inches. We can see that they're wanting us to put both top and bottom terms in the form of inches. So one of the things I'll have to do first is recognize that this is in feet. So I want to turn feet into inches. So to do that, I will multiply 14 feet by the number of inches in 1 foot, which is 12, and that gives me 168 inches are in 14 feet. Once I have that all good to go, I'm going to go ahead and put back in the 10 inches. So I'm going to add the 10 from the original here to say that there are a total of 178 inches in the length of the car. So I have 178 over 8, and what it wants you to always do is it does want you to reduce. I can divide both of these by 2. 178 divided by 2, 8 divided by 2. 178 divided by 2 is 89, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. And I can't really reduce that any more than that. And so we will leave it right there for number 1. Okay. When you look at number 2, which we're not going to solve right now, just notice you have pounds to ounces. Remember that back from probably elementary school, that there are 16 ounces in 1 pound. Okay, so when it says 8 ounces, that means you have half of a pound, or 0.5, however you want to think about that one for that problem. Okay, let's look at number 5. Number 5 says that there are 238 juniors at a high school. The ratio of girls to boys in the junior class is 3 to 4. How many juniors are girls? How many are boys? All right, so a couple things that I know here in this problem. I know that I have, I'm going to zoom out a little bit, sorry about that. I know that I have girls. I know that I have boys. I can see that there are 3 girls to every 4 boys. I don't know how many girls there are, how many boys there are, but I do know the total number of students to be 238. So I want to set up an equation to be able to find out how many girls and how many boys there are. So I'm going to say that the ratio 3 girls, however many that might be, I'll call that X, plus the 4 ratio for the boys times X will equal my total students 238. So at this point, what I'm saying is that my ratio of 3 to 4, if I multiply both of those by X, the number of girls, number of boys, then I can find out a total 238. So I want to find out the value of X, and I'll plug it back in. 7X equals 238. X equals 34. So now, to find out how many girls there are, I would take the number 34, which is my X, multiply it by 3. So 34 times 3 is 102 girls. And for the boys, I would do 34 times 4. Let's write it up here. Not a lot of space on this to write. I apologize. For 136 boys. And those are my 2 answers there for the number of boys and girls at the school. Number 7. Says the measures of the angles of a triangle are in the extended ratio 6:1:5. What is the measure of the largest angle? So this is a ratio. These are not the actual angle measurements, not anything else. It just says I have a triangle, and whatever I want to say, that I have a 6 and a 1 and a 5. Not the degrees, just the ratio of how those degrees relate to each other. A little similar to what we did before, I know that with a triangle, if I add up each angle, I'm going to get a sum of 180. So if I do a 6x plus a 1x plus a 5x, and I add those together, I will end up with 180 degrees. Okay? So if I combine this, I get 6 plus 1 plus 5 is 12x equals 180. Both sides divide by 12 to find out that x equals 15. Now I'm not done because that's just going to be my multiplier that I will use to determine what is the measure of the largest angle. Because it wants the largest, I'm going to go right here with a 6 and do a 6 times 15. I'm putting a 15 in the place of the x. So 15 times 6 is going to be 90 degrees. So the largest angle in this extended ratio will be 90 degrees. And that's my answer for number 7. But it comes back to saying, all right, I have a ratio of 6, 1, and 5. Let's put an x with each one and say the sum will be 180. Much like we did up above for number 5, 3 girls to 4 boys. Same type of idea. All right, number 10. A little more space finally. Yay. Number 10, I need to solve the proportion. It says to start, use the cross products property. That means I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my numerator of one and my denominator of the other, and I'm going to multiply those. Sorry, not working today. That's no good, is it now? I'm going to go ahead and multiply those together, and then I'll multiply these together and set them equal to each other. So I have 4 times x minus 2 equals 8 times 3 on the other side. And then I'll go ahead and solve that out. So 4 times x is 4x. 4 times minus 2 is minus 8. 8 times 3 is 24. So now I have an equation to solve. I will add 8 to both sides. So 4x equals 32. Divide both sides by 4 to find out that x equals 32 divided by 4 is 8. So my solution to this proportion is the x equals 8. That's all I'm looking for there. Okay. For these next four, I'm not going to really go over them there. They give you a little equation here, proportion here, that a over b equals 2 over 3. And this becomes 4 questions where you're just going to substitute following the same order. So for example, if I have a b here and an a there, the b corresponded to a 3 and the a corresponded to a 2. So I would rewrite it that way. I'm going to do the same thing with these other ones as well. This proportion, by the way, just take a look in case you didn't notice that, it goes along with that triangle there. So we're really comparing those parts of the triangle in these 4 problems. All right, so what we're going to do is just basically look across what corresponds and then put those in place. If you get a little bit of a funky one here, like an a plus b, well, what's a? Oh, it's a 2. What's b? It's a 3, but I'm going to add them. So I have a plus 3, and then I have the b down below for 3. I would continue to solve that out to get a 5 over 3. So I'm just substituting what I have there. All right, I'll let you fork on the rest of those there. Well, let's turn the page. I'll flip their page over. We're looking at number 16 here. 16 is looking at coordinate geometry. It says use the graph, write each ratio in simplest form. We have AC to AD. When I look at AC, I can see that it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces over. AD goes 6 and 2 more makes 8. 6 over 8 can be simplified if I divide top and bottom by 2. Divide by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 8 divided by 2 is 4. And that's my simplified ratio there. Alrighty. I can do the same thing for 17. 17 we have AB and EC. So AB here is 1, 2, 3. And EC, gotta find EC, it's here. So we're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which reduces to 1/2. And then finally, number 18, looking at the slope of ED. ED is this line right there. That's my ED line that I'm looking at. So I'm looking at the slope, that is the rise divided by the run, or how much I'm going up and down divided by how much I'm going side to side. So if I'm looking from here, I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going down 6, and I'm going over 1, 2. And again, that will also reduce to a negative 3 over 1. I want to keep it in that ratio form. I keep it as negative 3 over 1. If I was reducing all the way down to its bare minimum, I would get to just plain old negative 3, and that would be like the slope itself. But that's the ratio form there. Alrighty, number 20. Says the ratio of the width to the height of a window is 2 to 7. The width of the window is 3 feet. Write in solid proportion to find the height. Alrighty, so what we're talking about here is we have the width to the height. I'm going to write this down first just so I remember that I'm going width to height, right? And so I want to make sure I keep things in that order. So my width to height ratio they gave me was initially 2 to 7. So 2 is my width and 7 is there. Order is very important here that I get this right. It says the width of the window is 3. So I'm going to set this ratio equal to the width is 3, and it wants me to find the height. I don't know the height, so I'll call that x. To solve this equation, all I'm going to need to do is cross multiply, and I get 2x equals 7 times 3, 21. I'm going to divide both sides by 2 to determine that x equals 21 divided by 2 is 10.5, and I'm working with feet, so I'll go ahead and label that as 10.5 feet for number 21. Alright, that's for 20. Sorry about that. Number 21 is the next one I'm going to do. The sides of a triangle are extended in the ratio 3, 4, 10, much like what we did on the first page a moment ago. If the length of the shortest side is 9, what is the perimeter of the triangle? So there's a few steps here. I'm going to need to find out the length of all the sides in order to find out what the perimeter is going to be. It told me the length of the shorter side, which is a 3, is 9 inches. So I'm going to have to set up a series of ratios to find one side at a time. Alright? So we can do this by using the ratio they gave us to start with. We can say that, well, we know that the shortest one is 3. And let's start the medium sized one is 4. And we can set that equal to what we know. The short side is 9. And we're going to find out what the medium one is right now by calling it x. So this is going to be my ratio to determine what is the length of my medium side. Cross multiply. 9 times 4 is 36. And that's going to equal 3x. When I divide both sides by 3, we find out that x equals 13, and that's the length of my medium side. So just for kicks here, I'm going to go ahead and write a 9 above the 3 value. I'm going to write plus, because I'm going to do perimeter, 13 above my medium value, plus, now I want to do one more and find out the length of my long one. So I have short to long is 3 to 10. I know my short measurement is 9. I don't know the long measurement, and that's okay. I'll go ahead and cross multiply again and have 3x equals 90. I'll divide both sides by 3 to determine that x equals 30, and that is my long value. So I have plus 30 for my long value. And because I want the perimeter, I'm going to add up the lengths of my short, my medium, and my long, and 9 plus 13 plus 30 will add up to equal 51, and we're working with inches for my solution for number 21. All right, one last one. Number 27. I have number 27 right here. I'm going to solve each proportion. I'm going to go ahead and cross multiply and then solve for y. That's what you're after here. So I'm going to go ahead and do this top one here and rewrite it this way. That's 8 times y plus 4 equals, cross multiply, 6 times this right here, 2 minus 3. Now that I have that in place, I can go ahead and use distributive property. 8 times y is 8y. 8 times 4 is 32. Set that equal to 6 times 2y is 12y. And 6 times a minus 3 is a minus 18. Now I'm going to slide things around to get y by itself and solve for y. So I'm going to go ahead and do minus 8y to this side. Makes that go away, and this becomes a 4y. And then I'm going to go ahead while I'm at it and add 18 to both sides. That goes away, and 32 plus 18 happens to be 50. So 50 equals 4y. I'll divide both sides by 4 to determine that y equals 12.5. And that becomes my solution for number 27. We use the cross products, we multiply those together, distribute it out, we get a long equation, we move things around to get y by itself, and solve for y. You'll do that same process for these other ones as well. Cross multiply and solve for the variable. X there, d there, and y there. Alright, that's it for the day.